All right, last copy. Here with Mac, and I'm Jason. And
I'm Mac.
and this week, we're gonna cover No Way Out with Kevin Costner. It's a Roger Donaldson movie, like his best movie by far.
By far.
He's done a bunch of other like popcorn, B level ish movies. I mean, they were major studios, but they probably landed like a B movie. Dante's Peak, I think, being one of them. Uh,
Yeah.
would you say 13 Days is another one?
13 days is pretty good.
Um, but there's a lot of people in this cast, a lot of twists and turns in this movie. Uh, it is very Cold War and plays that up. So if you're like fan of like, Hunt for Red October, things like that, this is right in your wheelhouse. It's really there's a mystery involved. There's basically it's searching for a Russian agent named
And
Yuri,
there's a twist.
and there's a twist at the end. And there's all kinds of like just backdoor seedy government dealings all through this.
Right.
And Kevin Costner's awesome in this.
Oh
Um
yeah. And
he
this is like right when he's hitting his stride in the 80s,
Yeah, yeah,
because
and
he had this and The Untouchables came out in the same year.
same
So,
year.
same year.
And those are and like, and um I'll throw him in with JFK as well, him starring in JFK. But like, this is definitely probably my favorite Kevin Costner movie. Like, he's
This is
awesome.
up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
This is definitely up there. Top 3 Costners by far.
yeah,
And it's the best political thriller of the 1980s. You know, you have this, and then you have The Hunt for Red October, and
yeah,
then I don't know what else you got. Falcon and the Snowman, maybe. You know,
yeah, yeah. That's awesome. Um, but yeah. Anyway, so we like just get right into like the movie. You know, uh, Sean Young's in this, and
boy, is she.
a lot of Sean Young is in this,
We
and
see a lot of Sean Young.
and she's pretty good in this, honestly. Like she's
She is, and
for like
she
she's
plays like a stereotypical like batshit crazy mistress. To the Secretary of Defense,
yep.
and
And I was gonna say she plays Sean Young like she plays Sean Young in every movie.
right. She's total like yeah, she's doing her thing. She's doing, total Sean Young. And if anyone knows anything about Sean Young, she's crazy. She's insane. And I she there's tons of stories about her, tons of Hollywood stories about her just doing really, wild things, crazy stunts. She dressed up as Batwoman one time trying to get the role,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
but you're right though. I think she's kind of perfect for this movie.
yeah. She's really good as far as playing like this aloof. I wouldn't say prostitute, but I would say more like call girl, or she's got some sugar daddies or some kind of things like that.
Yeah, basically, Gene Hackman, who plays the Secretary of Defense, is her sugar daddy because he is paying the rent. She obviously doesn't have a job. She just shows up to those, banquets and, things and
Yeah,
then
and,
lets Gene Hackman bang her once in a while. And
and she's married, and he's married,
he's married. Yeah.
and he brings his wife to these events and
He
everything.
brings his wife to these things too and always has like Sean Young like in the background.
Ugh. So yeah,
It's
so like,
crazy.
which I like. I appreciate that in the movie because it makes Gene Hackman seem even creepier, and
Right.
he's good in this. I think there's
He's
been
really good.
like you know
Rest in peace.
yeah, rest in peace, Gene Hackman. And it's hard to he's such a high caliber actor. It's hard to be like, well, you know, he this isn't like my favorite Gene Hackman role, but by no means
No,
that not
no, but
being
he's solid.
excellent in this.
It's
Yeah.
solid Gene Hackman.
Yeah, yeah.
And really it's not, I mean, he doesn't need to carry the movie because, he's got Costner and Will Patton. Those
Will,
two guys are pretty, I mean, they're carrying the movie. Will Patton, this is his best role, you know?
yes, yeah. I will definitely say that, and I would say like, yeah, like if anything, Gene Hackman, you think is he's going to be like they have him on the posters, they have him, like he's prominent in the story,
Right.
but like he's probably like the third or fourth actor in this, like
He's
it's
probably, but he's the biggest name.
yes,
You know,
exactly. Yeah, he's
Costner is
biggest
just
name.
really getting started. He's not A-lister yet. And, no one really knows who Will Patton is right now. So Costner was the name that they needed to kind of sell the movie, even though he's kind of like you're right. He's probably like the third lead.
Yeah, yeah. He's very he plays like a more vulnerable part, which I thought was
Right.
kind of cool too. Like Gene Hackman usually is just kind of like a hard ass or um he more stoic, I guess, but like he kind of gets vulnerable in parts in this. By no means is he a good dude. But
Right, right. But he's not as bad as Will Patton, you
right.
know?
Well, and so what happens at the start of the movie is
Yeah,
that
let's
yeah, like
explain
dive in.
what's going on here.
Like what happens at the start of the movie is like you're seeing like you see like a hunt happening for like a Russian spy. They're searching for like
In the
something
beginning
called
of the movie,
it's called a phantom
Costner is
the
getting
phantom cell.
interrogated by a couple guys, and you don't know what's going on.
Yep.
And there's a camera and there's a mirror, and Costner knows that there's someone behind the mirror, and he's like, when is he going to come out from behind there? And then all of a sudden, you flash back to 6 months earlier, and then the movie begins.
Yep. And it's like and in that first scene too, because I remember writing it down, like one of the agents, and you just know it's a government agent, right? Like you don't
Right.
know anything about these folks, and he squeezes a mug
So
so hard
hard.
it explodes, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's like,
dude.
what is going on?
No, and this is like right at the start. Like it's like I know movies start pretty quick, but dang. And
Right.
and then yeah, they go back 6 months, and he's basically on a ship, right?
Well,
And
no, first he meets Sean Young at the party, at the banquet party,
oh, that's
where
great. Yeah, yeah,
so he goes to the whatever. There's a big function going on. It's like a fundraiser, a government fundraiser, and Scott Pritchard, played by Will Patton, who's like the lead counsel for the Secretary of Defense, introduces Kevin Costner to Gene Hackman. Now at that time, Gene Hackman has no interest. He's like, yeah, yeah, great, see you later, and nothing really happens. So then Costner hooks up with Sean Young.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
Sean Young is at the party, and they barely talk. They have maybe, three or four sentences together. And then he goes over, he orders a Stoli, and she follows him to the bar. And he's like, hey, let's get out of here.
It's that.
And
It's
then
that.
they take a limo ride. They take a limo ride. They're in the back seat. They start messing around. He tells the driver, hey, what's your name? And I was like, hey, why don't you put up the slide? you
Oh
know?
yeah, it's Bill, by the way.
Right.
His name's Bill. Yeah, and that creeper's just like watching him like make out and like
Right. The
start to get
driver's watching him
undressed.
like, and
Yeah.
he's smiling and everything. It's
He's no Argyle from Die Hard. Like, he's not
but
classy like
it's
Argyle.
funny though because Sean Young, I don't think she would have cared whether that slide was up or down.
Well,
You know?
considering her profession, no. Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
she was ready to go. So
yeah.
then they have, this kind of, crazy sex in the back seat. And then
Wait, and can I also
yeah, go
add
ahead.
the worst song
The
I
worst
may,
song.
I may
Oh
have ever
God.
heard in a movie, and the name of the
That's
song is
No
No
Way
Way
Out.
Out. I wish
Yeah.
there was a way out of that song
Yeah,
in watching the
that
movie.
song's pretty bad. That's,
It's
that's one of the things that's really dated
it's
in the
it's
movie.
80s bad too, because of
Yeah,
course
it's
it's got
80s bad.
unnecessary saxophone. It's got, I mean, it is the lyrics.
Yeah, yeah.
They must have woke up that day and been like, oh man, oh shit, No Way Out song is due
Right.
today. Let me write one real quick.
Well, then they're done having sex, and then they're just kind of sitting there staring at each other. And then Costner, he delivers a great line where he says, "My name's Tom." They didn't even introduce each other yet. So she knew the driver's name before she knew Costner's name.
And that's how she likes it, dude. So I mean,
Well, so the thing is though, the next scene, I don't know if they cut something out because the next scene, she's taking him to the airport and she's kissing him like, they've been in love for like months, you know.
yeah.
And then he goes to the Philippines or wherever, and he's on um, some sort of naval ship.
And
And
that's
then one he
and when
that's
he's on,
significant the time he's out there in Manila, okay?
mhm.
Because he saves the guy on the ship,
Yep,
okay? And then he gets
like
written up. But
like
go
heroically
ahead.
saves him. Like he
Right.
runs out and they're screaming like don't do it and and he just runs out anyway. He almost gets wiped out like once or twice himself.
Right. And all the guys are like, "Tom, what are you doing? You're crazy." And then the next scene, Gene Hackman, he's reading the newspaper. And I actually paused it to see what the newspaper said.
Nice.
And Costner's character is like awarded like the Navy Cross.
Yeah, I knew he was in the paper like
Yeah.
because it goes by, but I didn't pause it like you did, so that's awesome. I
So,
knew he was awarded something.
and then the other story that was
Man.
next to that story was talking about the budget cuts for the Phantom Sub.
Ah,
You know,
okay. So yeah,
yeah, and because that's
crossover.
kind of significant too, because there's a Phantom Sub that the Americans want to build, but they don't. The Congress won't pass the budget, and Hackman's character is like, "Fuck this sub," I don't want to pay for this. This is
I was
like
gonna say it's mainly
two
Hackman.
billion dollars.
It's
Yeah,
mainly Gene Hackman. What Secretary Brice? Like he's the one
right.
is the
He
one.
doesn't he doesn't really care about this, building a Phantom Sub.
Yeah,
And
he's
then
the main
so
opponent.
he's at breakfast and he's reading about it. And then Will Patton comes in, says something, and then there's that other senator that's sitting at the table with
Yeah,
Fred Dalton Thompson.
and that other senator, the Duval guy,
Yes.
like he's for the money going to the Phantom Sub, right? And he's like, and
He's
he's
for he that's what he wants.
yes,
And Fred Dalton Thompson plays the director of the CIA.
yep,
And those two are in cahoots. And that's what Hackman is pissed off about because he knows that Duvall and Thompson are like good buddies, you know.
yep,
So then, but then that's when Hackman's like, "Hey, I just read about your buddy. Get him in here. We need him. I need him in here, because he needs kind of like a guy to, snoop around on the CIA and
yeah,
find out what they
yeah,
know." So that's then the next scene is Costner back out in the Philippines where they're at the strip club. Remember, he's trying to make a phone call.
uh,
He's trying to call. He's trying to call Susan from
uh,
the strip club, and there's
a,
like a ton of noise, and he's
ton,
putting in a bunch of coins, and
a ton of noise and just a ton of skin, dude. Like I mean,
yeah, yeah.
like
It's
again,
like everybody's naked in the whole place.
like 80s movies almost had a requirement that if you were R, you had to have boobs in there
Yeah,
at least one
right,
set of boobs. And like they cover that requirement a lot, like in
right,
droves
right,
in No Way Out. But yeah, like I always found that scene was like wild that he's trying to have that conversation. You can
right.
barely hear it in the.
You can barely hear
I
him,
didn't
and she
turn the
picks up the
subtitles on.
phone, and she knows it's him, but she has to hang up right away because Gene Hackman is there, and he's looking her over like a prime rib,
Like
like he's ready to
that's when
he's
he's
ready
in
to
the
feast.
that's when he's in the silk like Hugh
Right, he's got
Hefner
his
robe.
after robe on.
Yeah, he's getting
uh,
tap on. Like yeah, and like and I like that, like so like after that scene happens, and that's when you see like Secretary Brice Hackman with Sean Young's character. You see that happening, and like Costner, like that's when he's like, he has to like hang up and like, cause she's like, hey, I need to go or whatever. And that's when he starts putting it together, like, here's the other dude.
Right. Well, when Costner gets back in town, okay, because Hackman wants to hire him, so they bring Costner back in town, and then his first stop though is when you first see his landlord. Remember that?
Yep, yep.
He goes back to where he was renting, and the landlord's like, "Hey, how's it going? Blah blah blah. Good to see you." And he hands him some mail, which could be
Anything.
whatever. I think there's something going on there, and he's talking to him like in code. All right. And
Yeah.
Jason, I think we got to say disclosure alert that we're going to talk about all the spoilers.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not,
Okay.
you're not spoiling anything.
All right.
Yeah,
So
because
then,
go ahead.
and then Costner goes over to Sean Young's place, and she
Yeah.
cannot wait to fuck him. Like she gets so excited. I mean, she just like the way she opens the door and she starts like going ah,
Yeah, well,
it's
yeah, she
hilarious.
jumps on him, and
He pretty much jumps on him,
yep,
and that's when she takes the photograph.
yep.
So
Well, he's so she wants to take a photograph. She turns around with this camera,
right,
and he's like very shy, and he's not like screaming at her or like saying no or
I
whatever.
think
He's
he
kind of
started
going,
blushing, and
it's
that's
like,
why she wanted to
and
take
like,
a picture of him.
and you can see it behind me right there. Boom. Um, but like, he, she's like opening the back of the camera, and he rips the negative piece off, right? Like
Right,
he takes it out, he crumbles it up, and he kind of tosses it off to the side, and then they go buck wild. And then you kind of forget about that.
right, right. But that's very important though later on. And then so then they have the scene where she's getting ready to go out with Brice again, and she ends up telling him, "Hey, it's David Brice." And he says, "Oh, do you know I work for him?" And she says, "Well, that makes two of us." So that
Yep.
so that pretty
Uh,
much
kill,
tells you that she is,
killer line.
and right. So then they go to that whatever that evening, and Costner shows up because I don't think Sean Young knew that he was invited too to that
Yep.
same event.
No, like she looks surprised to see him, and he goes out of his way to like kind of like peacock around in front of her.
Right, right.
Like,
He wants to kind of surprise her
yep.
because the next thing after that is when they go on their little, weekend getaway.
Yeah, and the weekend getaway is like straight out like Nantucket or something like that. And
Right.
and it also involves one of my favorite characters in the entire movie, which is Boat Guy.
Yeah.
And like and so there's this like huge dude with like a beard, and he's like at like a boat rental. It's like a not necessarily like sailboat rental, but like outboard motor, but like anyways, like boat rentals
Yeah.
like that you can take out. And you know, Kevin Costner's trying to like take out this bigger boat. He wants to take out this cooler
His
boat,
boss's boat.
the boss's boat,
Right.
like Brice's boat. And
He
and
just
he's like,
starts
I don't think I can do that. And then he's like, oh, come on, man. And and he's like,
starts
okay.
whipping out hundreds.
Yeah, and he's throwing down here. He's like, a couple more.
Right.
And like,
Come on, one more.
I love that too, where he's like a couple more, but
Yeah.
then like, and and so they rent this boat and they take off, and they have their fun, and come back, and then and then they come back from their like vacation basically after that. But it's important because you weirdly see Boat Guy later, and he
And you
plays a
see
big
the
role.
guy that worked at the hotel later.
And that's true, and the hotel. So that whole getaway weekend, yeah,
Right.
the guy with like the frilly
Right. And he
Look,
like still wearing his outfit
yeah,
later.
yeah. Look, I thought that was awesome too when they brought like they bring him in at late in the movie, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to find who can identify the couple or the guy that was with
Right.
her that
Right.
weekend. And yeah, and like Max saying, like he's still wearing this like frilly, like Revolutionary War looking like garb or whatever.
Right.
And
Like ballet guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
and everybody else is wearing like normal clothes or they're wearing like military uniforms or police uniforms, whatever. And this guy's wearing like, you know, like Ben Franklin. Um,
So
so
just to set that scene
yeah.
up, so when they get back from vacation, they get back at night and there's a phone and Susan gets a phone call and basically Brice comes over
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
and
right.
and
Unexpectedly.
Susan begs Tom to like go out the back door. Can you please go out the back door? And Tom's like reluctantly like goes out the back door. But this is where he makes his mistake though. He stands out front on the sidewalk and he stares down Gene Hackman.
I know,
You know,
and like I want to talk about that little bit right there too, just because like when I watched that, I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell if Gene Hackman knew who he was looking at, or if it was just like he knew someone was coming out of her house and staring him down.
Gene Hackman saw the shadow, but he could not recognize him. He
That's what I
didn't
was gonna
know
say.
it
Like
was Tom.
he's kind of like backlit, and he's like he
Right.
can only see like the silhouette of Tom Farrell.
But if Tom would have just hid behind the building and waited until Hackman went in, Hackman would have never known that there was another guy there, and
But
then they
he,
could have never have been, tried to get the whole story of Yuri going.
yeah, but I think just as jealous boyfriend style, because I mean, like she meant a lot more to him than I think she meant to Gene Hackman. I mean, I know he's like the sugar daddy in her life, right? But like
Right.
she has real feelings for like Tom Farrell, and I think he does too, or at least I thought he did.
No, he does, and that's why he
Well,
fucks up. You
well,
know,
late, but yeah. So like 2 points, like yeah, like he comes out like I feel like jealous boyfriend style, and I think he's almost like I don't give a shit if this dude knows I'm here or not, and so he just stops there and he's like staring him down, being like, do something, sucker. Like, but like, and then, Hackman like leaves, of course, and he just walks away. But like, I feel like he did that intentionally. That's why I was confused of like, can, can like, Secretary Brice, can he see Tom Farrell standing there? Or I know he knows it's a guy and I know he knows
he
that that
knows it's a
guy just
guy,
came.
but he doesn't know it's Tom.
He doesn't know it's Tom. And that's why like, I just feel like he did that intentionally just to kind of like send a message
Well,
like she's
I think Costner did it intentionally, but if you remember at the very end of the movie when they go
yep,
back to he's getting
yep.
interrogated, they're telling him like you did not handle this right, and I think that's the point they were talking about.
Well,
Like you let him see you there,
they say that like they
and you
say like
didn't handle this right.
you didn't handle it right, and then they also say like
Oh shit, Jason, I got someone ringing my doorbell.
okay,
Can you pause?
yeah, yeah, hang on. Well, and I think that the other point I was going to make about this scene where Hackman and Tom Farrell kind of like have like see each other outside of her apartment um is that late that moment like you said later in the movie where they're like hey you really handled this wrong like I, they say they mentioned like like Tom mentioned something about well you told me to
You
like
told me
get
to
the
be your lover, and
yeah
I
you
was your
told
lover.
yep like you told me to be your lover and I was your lover and so it's like that like at least part of it on the surface was like at least the job and not like true feelings. So it's like, and maybe like, and like this dude is like world
I think he
class
was telling them like,
actor.
hey, I was doing my job,
Yeah.
but I think his feelings kind of got in the way.
Yeah, yeah.
You
I
know?
mean, like that's why it's like all hard about it. So like he's like standing
Right,
outside the apartment. But I do feel like he originally went into there to do like the seduction, get under the skin,
right,
like the Americans. Obviously, this is kind of
right.
like the precursor to that series. Excellent series. Um, but yeah, and I want to say too, like, so then Hackman goes back in.
Hackman goes in
He's
and
he
he's so
smiles.
pissed.
He smiles when he comes in the door though.
Oh yeah,
And,
but
like
it's you know that
I
he's
wrote I
pissed.
wrote this note down too where it's like he's smiling when he comes in and he's like, all right, and he closes the door and then he goes over to it and he's just like and I'm just like,
Right. Like
whoa.
he reaches out for her, you know?
Oh man, it that is where he made his money in this
Oh
movie.
yeah.
Like that scene right there. And
Right.
so then he rages out.
He rages out and she calls him or says he's demanding to find out who it is.
Yep.
And she says, "Well, he's not a pig like you." And that's when he like just smacks her in the face
Oh
and she
yeah.
goes over the railing
Yeah.
and then, does the dramatic fall and lands on the glass table.
and
Now,
and that is exactly I wrote Brian De Palma is so proud.
right,
I was
right.
like that is like right out of the
Total
Brian De
Brian De
Palma
Palma
thing.
shot, you
Like
know.
and right now in the slow motion looking up like and you know what? Like thinking about that, like Brian De Palma actually uses a similar thing in like Mission Impossible where you see John Voight just kind of like falling and stuff.
Oh
So,
yeah. Oh yeah. For sure.
like it's but like yeah, like that scene is super dramatic.
That's super dramatic. And
And
then and then Hackman goes over to Scott Pritchard's, tells him what he did,
yeah.
and Hackman is ready to confess. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
he just had to let Pritchard know what was going on. He's like, "Hey, I got to go confess."
and that's what was so like I think like this is where this movie is it goes from like like good, like really
This is
good
where it
to,
really
to
gets
go to
good.
goes great. Like I mean it just goes it kind of like it
Hell
doesn't
yeah,
go off the
because
rails. It just gets so tight, intense, and there's like no room to breathe. And like the no way out is the perfect title because
that's the
like
perfect title
it is so
because
claustrophobic as far as like social situations go.
once Pritchard brings up the idea of Yuri, a Russian spy who moved to the United States in his early teens and just was passed off as an American and was able to infiltrate the government somehow, and all of a sudden you're like, holy crap. And that's the movie gets really good because then like, oh my God, they're going to think that Kevin Costner is Yuri when they find out that it was, he was the one that was in there.
Yeah, because
And
that was like they so yeah, like Hackman kills his mistress, runs to Pritchard. Pritchard's like
he comes up with an idea.
he's like, hang on, sir.
Right.
Let's
Right.
let's do this
Right.
instead. And like I said, like that's where it gets really good because like Pritchard's already a weasel, and he's already kind of this like wormy dude, like
And
in
he
everything.
hits high on the creep factor too.
That's exactly what I
Uh,
was gonna say. And then like he becomes like, you know what? I am the number one creep in this movie, and I'm gonna claim my title right here because like
right.
he comes up with this whole plot of, hey, we're gonna use this whole boogeyman like straw man type deal of Yuri, this like idea of this like Russian mole, and we're gonna use it to like pin this on somebody else. And so, maybe we'll find Yuri. And I think what he's really saying is like maybe we'll manufacture
Maybe we'll
Yuri.
manufacture Yuri because
Yeah,
nobody, there's not a shred of proof that a Russian spy like that exists. It's just,
nothing.
Hackman calls it the CIA's wet dream that people have just been talking about for like 4 years.
Yeah.
You know, and so and that's why Scott Pritchard thinks, well, this is the perfect getaway, then the perfect diversion to get you out of this murder. We'll just blame it on this Russian spy that doesn't even really exist.
Yeah, and
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 when
he's
they tell Costner, the scene that they tell Costner, when he finds out like it was Susan, he remember he has to like go to the bathroom because he's having a nervous breakdown.
well, they don't even tell him it's Susan. They say, "Hey, this person," and they were involved. We think they were involved maybe with like, Secretary Brice, and I don't even know if he put that together. But
No, they gave him the file. They
but when
said,
they give, I was gonna say when they give him the file and he opens it up, and you don't even have to see. I don't even think you see any photos, but like
you see his
he's
facial
looking at her
expressions. Yeah,
face, like and you can, and it it's interesting. Like Costner actually does like a really pretty good piece of acting here, I think, where he
yeah,
like
for definitely. I was
flips
going
it
to say
open
that.
and he sees it, and you can tell like his eyes register this is a photo. And
Right,
then you can see the deeper second registration of, oh, this is a person I've been involved with.
right,
And like, and oh, she's dead. And like, and then like he's just like, I need a minute.
and right because then there's even a third realization that holy shit, they're actually on to me.
Yes, because
Because he knows he is like, once you find out at the end of the movie that he is Yuri, but you
yep.
don't know that at that point, but he's acting like, holy shit, they're on to me now. What am I going to do? And this woman that I fell in love with is also dead. That's why he had to go to the bathroom. It was just too much, and he had to splash some water on his face and he just had to like get it together.
And like Gene Hackman and like his character, like Brice, is so one track mind on self-preservation. Like here's a dude in the bathroom and he could have been like having like bad Taco Bell or
Right.
whatever, no offense Taco Bell. Um, whatever, like and Brice is on the outside going, excuse me, sir, or
Are we
like
boring you? What's going
yeah,
on?
basically like wrap it up, dude, in the
Right.
bathroom. I thought that was interesting too. And I want to also point like out like two small like minor factors, I guess, but like Pritchard is gay, and you
Right.
find that out later in the movie. And it's important because basically they're trying to pin down who Yuri is, and they're saying Yuri was
Right.
with Sean Young's character at
The
some point.
CIA knew that
The CIA did, yeah, like the
Susan
CIA knew
was
this.
either Brice's mistress or Pritchard's mistress. So Fred Dalton Thompson, who he always plays like the smartest guy in the room. He's
Yeah,
the one like, well, you can forget about Pritchard. He's a homo.
yeah, yeah, and and so like so Pritchard's gay, and also they have like a major role for somebody in a wheelchair too, which and I was thinking about this like in the 80s, like wow, like honestly, like, and I mean, unfortunately, they make this one gay character like the
The
evil, and like,
creepy guy.
he's like, yeah, he's like the bad guy in the movie, but like, um, I thought that was kind of cool. Just like
I thought it was great. I thought it
especially
adds,
for being like a military-ish,
yeah. And Will
movie.
Patton plays it perfectly.
No,
You know, I mean, he
Will
nails
Patton
it.
awesome in this, dude. He's
He's awesome.
amazing.
He's carrying a lot of this movie.
And
And you just, especially the second half of the movie. So when they really get into the investigation, and and then they get the photograph, and they start scanning the photograph. They're trying to, because they can't make it out because of the exposure, but all of a
at
sudden
the,
they got these crazy computers now that are gonna repixelate everything, little by little. And so
yeah,
now,
at the
and
State
that's what
Department.
gives, now he's on a clock. Now he's running out of time.
Well, so yeah, so to like a couple things about like that when the investigation picks up, because like just to go back a little bit and pick up a clue, um, like when Costner is with Sean Young and they're kind of fooling around at her place, she has this jewelry box, and it's this gold jewelry
Oh, right.
box, and he was like, oh. that's expensive. Like, I mean, he's like total like jealous boyfriend. He's like, oh, that's expensive. You know, he must like have like expensive taste or something to that effect. And she's like, oh no, he didn't spend anything on this. Like the prime minister of wherever gave this to
Right. It was a gift to him.
it was a gift. And so it was a gift through the State Department.
Right.
And so
Which has
one
to be registered.
which you do have to register those gifts. And like so one thing that's like very interesting about the end of this movie, like where you're talking like where it just goes, it picks up after she dies, and then there's this, it's like a double race to find out, are they going to pick up the fact that Brice is the killer, or is he going to weasel out of it? And then also, who is Yuri? And then it's almost like investigations versus other investigations. So like Costner's investigating people, and he's
Right.
taking information he knows and he's trying to leverage it to like get more puzzle pieces. You know, obviously like Pritchard is doing that on his end to cover like Gene Hackman's end, like rear end.
Right. But
You know,
that's where that because this is where it
oh yeah.
really, I mean, it really gets good because, Costner is basically on the hunt for himself. So he's got to pretend like he doesn't know anything about this. Because remember, they have the one scene where they go and visit uh, Susan's, friend Nina. Is that
Yep.
her name?
Yep. Nina.
And
Yep.
she was like, she recognizes Tom, but she kind of like just pretends like they never met because they're just, they have to interrogate her, and and there's a scene because Pritchard's with them and Pritchard's interrogating her. Tom grabs the vase, he's ready to bust Pritchard in the back of the head.
Yeah, I know like you like that is so subtle too. Like if you don't see it, like you know, but I
You
picked up
might
on.
miss that part,
I no, I wrote that down in my notes as well. I was like, because he just kind of subtly takes the flowers out and sets them down,
Right,
and then he's like he's got the like he's picking up like the vase, like
right. He's
he's
ready to
starting like
smash Pritchard in the
yeah
back of the
ready to
head.
like step into it, and then like Pritchard basically like she's like, well, let's deal. Like he asked for, like who the name is of Yuri. Like he's
Right.
being like pretty direct, and like and she's just like,
All she
let's
gave him was that he works at the Pentagon.
that he works at the Pentagon, and like and she's like, let's make a deal because like he finds her passport, sees that she doesn't have a, like a
He's an
valid,
illegal alien.
yeah, she's an illegal alien, and he's gonna like basically deport her. And so like they kind of have this like very tense, very harsh, almost physical
Right.
negotiation. And meanwhile, like Tom Farrell's in the back, ready to just wreck shop. And like, and
Right.
I think like even before like you hear anybody say like he's Yuri, like right there, there's only two of them. You know, it's
Well,
Bryce.
I mean, still though, you don't really figure out that twist until the end. You just think that that Tom is being kind of set up,
Yeah, yeah,
So you think he's
that's the
just
way it
fighting
needs to
for
be.
his life. And so, you think like, oh my God, he's got to let people know that it was Brice the whole time, or they're gonna people are gonna think he's Yuri, who doesn't really even exist. And
So that's like, and that's one thing that Tom Farrell does for his own defense. So he does a couple things to try to like figure it out, or like buy himself some time to like get from out of like under the foot, or whatever. So
right,
he has this computer guy. I call him Computer Dude One.
George the
Yep,
Zunza,
yep.
and we
And
can talk about him too.
he's been in a ton of stuff. And
And like he's from he started the first time I saw him was in the Deer Hunter.
oh, that's right, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's awesome, man.
And then but he shows up again in Basic Instinct where he gets killed again.
Yeah,
You know?
isn't he? He's Michael Douglas's partner in that, right?
Right, right.
Yeah. Well, anyway, like Tom Farrell grabs this gold jewelry box, and he is lobbying Sam is his name in the movie, and he's lobbying Sam to like, hey, um, well, first he sends Sam on a bogus credit card hunt, credit card number hunt, and then he's like, hey, this is taking up a bunch of resources, Tom. Like, I don't think this is a good idea. And he's like, just do it. Just delay everything for me.
Right.
And then he gives him this gold box, and he was like, I need you to register this into the State Department, like registry, gift registry.
Right.
And he or gift gratuity registry or something like
He
that.
needs
And
a record of all the gifts that were registered with the State Department so he can have proof that Brice knew Susan.
yeah, so he's like, register this. It came, it should be, Secretary Brice. And he does that. And he does that, like, he actually even has him like hack the State Department's
Yeah.
computers to
Right.
do that. Like he convinces Sam to like hack the stuff, like incredible. So like that's taking place, and then they have this photo, so they recover that crumpled up photo from way back when at the start of the movie, and like, oh, we can't get anything off of this, we already ran it to the lab, and you can see this like sense of like relief go over Costner's
Right.
face.
Costner's like, oh, too bad. I guess we got to move on.
And then Sam rolls back up, and he's like, actually,
I know. And
we have a
Costner's,
computer
oh, shit.
program, and he's like, yeah, run it. And like before he even has a chance to say anything, some other dude comes running in, grabs the photo, and like they run it off to like forensics to start this like whole
Right.
process. So it's like that's when he's under the clock, like that, or that's when he's on the clock.
Right.
Like he needs to get some answers, and he needs to get this cleaned up as
Right.
fast as possible.
Because now, now he knows like that Pritchard also has those two like mercenaries that are just kind of lurking around, So
Yeah, yeah.
because after they go and interrogate Nina, Pritchard sends those mercenaries to go kill her, and Tom knows it.
Yep.
So he goes and like, he has to go chase them after him and make sure he gets to Nina before they do, just to let her know like, hey, you need to get the hell out of Dodge, because these guys are gonna kill you.
And that seems wild too, because those guys take off, and he's like, hey, where's Abbott and Costello? and
Right,
and then he runs, he sprints out, he jumps in a car. Everyone's like, hey, this car isn't ready, and he just takes off anyways. And dude, he destroys that car before he's even on
oh
the
yeah,
street. Like he's like, he
he
knocks off a
smashed and
bumper.
leaves it like in the middle of the street.
Yeah, and so he's chasing these dudes down. Then he basically just pits them, like he does like a pit stop or whatever, like
Right,
in front of them, like, and just like completely like goes perpendicular to their car, and just these, they all wreck. And then like what's wild to me, and it took me a second to understand why he was running, but he gets out of the car and he just starts running, and I'm like, what? Where's he running to? What? Like it looks like he's running away.
well,
These
he
guys,
runs to the mall where
right?
Nina works.
Like, and that's like what, like,
Yeah,
I didn't realize that until like he gets into the mall and he sees her. Like I
right,
understood like they were going to like kill her, but like at first it looks like in that scene it was kind of a little confusing, where it's like they're chasing after him. It looks like they're actually just trying to beat him to the target,
right.
but like he's running, and he's like, like trying to like fight him and like all this other
Well,
stuff. So
they
it's like,
finally stop him, because he holds him off. Nina gets away, and then they bring him back, to the Pentagon. And Pritchard yells at him like, "What are you doing? You can't be." This is when Pritchard kind of threatens him too, where it's like,
oh
"Hey,
yeah,
if you try to bring down Brice, I will do everything I can to stop you." And then Tom, realizing the situation is, he knows he's got to kind of, cool down the situation. He's like, "Hey, I'm really sorry about that. Blah blah blah. Let's be cool." Because he's still buying time, and he
yep.
can't have, he doesn't want to set Pritchard off
No,
because
and that apology, where Tom has to give that apology to buy himself more time,
right,
and to like it's like not just to buy himself more time, but like to also just like kind of see like to gauge how Pritchard is going to take it. And so
right,
he goes in, and it's like I found this fascinating too, like in this movie where he goes in, he's like, hey, sorry, my emotions, got the best.
right,
And Pritchard's like,
yeah.
that's okay.
He does that all
That's
the time.
okay. Like, I mean,
Does
yeah,
that another time with Brice.
he's like,
When Brice doesn't think that Tom believes him, he's like, "Oh, we can't even get our own people to believe." He's like, "Shh, it's okay, it's
and
okay."
he's like, that's okay. And I
Or
was like, and I was like, dude, like Tom Farrell basically like just wrapped Pritchard around his finger, whether he knows it or not. But like
right,
that apology meant a heck of a lot more to Pritchard than it
right.
did to
No, he's
Tom
sucking
Farrell.
up to Pritchard
Oh
to kind
yeah,
of cater to his
100%,
ego.
100%.
And but the mistake he makes though is when he's telling George DeZunza that hey, you got to slow this down. And finally, his character's name is Sam. Sam, runs out in his wheelchair into his office, and Costner follows him into his office, and Sam's like, "All right, you tell me what's going on." So Tom tells him like, "Hey, that's me in the photo, and Brice is the one that killed her."
Yep, yep. And he's like, you got to slow this photo
And
down, dog.
huh?
He's like, you got to slow this photo
Right.
down, dog.
It basically is saying like you got to stop this so I can get time to get my cover my ass and find a connection between Susan and Brice.
And,
And
and he and Sam
what does
does it.
Sam do? Sam goes and tells Pritchard.
Well, at first he does it. At first he goes and like sabotages the photo. Like he's
He
telling all the
tries to slow it down.
he slows it, and by slowing it down, he's going to other engineers or coders
Right.
or whatever they are, and he's telling them like, hey, have you thought about like the third variable? And they're like, no. And they're like, I haven't thought of anything like that. And they're like, maybe you should.
Right.
And
Maybe you
and
should.
he's trying to like he's pushing them in like different ways, different directions to like slow it down and to like gum it up, basically. But he
Right.
also is feeling hella bad
Right.
about
He feels
being,
guilty about
yeah.
what's going on, and he thinks that he can trust Pritchard.
Oh,
So Pritchard's like, "All right, meet me at the basketball court. Don't bring
well,
anybody."
well, well, first he calls and he he's like basically saying like he's dropping the goods on Tom Farrell and he
Right.
even
But you
feels
don't know who he's talking to at
right,
first.
and he does, and he can tell he even feels bad about that. Like Sam's actually like a good dude. Like he's actually like a
Right.
pretty pure
And
heart.
him and Tom, they go that they establish that they go way back. They're friends from sometime earlier.
Yeah, and so like there's so like he's doing this stuff for his friend. He feels bad about doing it. So he calls somebody, and then that's when you see it's Pritchard on the other end. And as soon as you see who's on
Oh
the other end of that
man.
phone call, it's like, oh
Then
man,
you're like,
lights
it's
out.
over. Lights out.
Yeah, like I mean, he just told everybody to have a sidearm on their,
Right, right.
or that yeah,
Except for you, Tom.
to have a firearm on their side, and like, and he's like, except for you, Tom, and I'm also you, Sam. I imagine he didn't have to
Right.
say it, but like, you know, he goes down this basketball court. Sam's sitting in the middle of this basketball court by himself. Like, I mean, it's
It's
pretty
kind of a
obvious
weird
what's gonna
scene,
happen
but
in the scene.
I did read up on it, and there is a basketball court in the Pentagon.
Oh yeah, I believe
Yeah,
that.
and so it's just funny how like he has Sam meet him out there, and Sam has no, he's not suspicious of anything. Like, oh sure, I'll just meet you. Instead of meeting in his office, no, meet me at the basketball court. So then he tells Pritchard everything, and Pritchard's like, oh, that's very interesting. And then Pritchard pulls out a gun and kills Sam, and that's so then that's when it gets real serious because by this point, Tom, Kevin Costner's character, he's printing out all the gifts that have been registered through the State Department, and he's going through pages and pages and pages, and he finally finds it, and he's like, oh, this is the proof. And he just grabs it, and then by this time, though, the mercenaries are coming to get him.
And the mercenaries are special forces. I know that
There's
they
like
like
ex special forces guys.
and he goes and like and Kevin Costner's like he's like, like what do you mean special forces? And they're like, like and they won't answer, like right, like they won't like
Right.
there he is. And there's the no way out sign.
Hell yeah.
Um, right, but like he's like special forces, and and he asks, he's like, so like Death Squad, and then they don't answer either, and
Right.
he's like, oh, Death Squad, like so
He
he's
knows who
pretty,
they are,
yeah, he's pretty
you know.
convinced, like right from the rip, that like they these dudes are only here to kill people.
Right. And they're now that they know, because now that Pritchard knows that it was Tom is the one that was the other guy, he sends the mercenaries to go kill Costner, and they end up chasing him through the whole Pentagon. And that foot race is crazy because like there's so many times where they're so close to him, but those guys can't run worth a shit, you know?
Yeah, well, and he gets cut with a razor blade.
Yeah, on
And I
the
mean,
forearm.
he bashes that one dude's face in with a fire hydrant. I will never understand this when the
Oh, the
other
fire
dude,
extinguisher to the face.
or
Yeah,
yeah, no, yeah,
yeah,
fire hydrant. That'd been amazing. To mixing up my No Way Out and my King of New York.
right,
Like with
right.
the fire extinguisher where he hits that dude in the face, and I don't know, maybe, and maybe I wouldn't be quick thinking like this, but I think I could be, use the fire extinguisher, like blow it in that dude's face. Like he would have just been like, "What?" And
Right.
like,
Keep that fire extinguisher for the other guy.
right, and like instead, like he like, I guess either drops it or whatever. He gets slashed.
They wrestle around and he cuts his forearm, and then he breaks off again, and he gets over to Brice's office, and then at Brice's office they have the bodyguards there, and he demands like you arrest this guy, and
Oh
so then
yeah.
they arrest the mercenary guy,
Well,
and
he
that's
goes
when he
because
goes into Brice's office and shows him the paper.
and he shows him
Yeah,
the paper, and like, and right outside the office before, like he gets there, and there's the dude with the razor blade, and he's got a gun now, I think, pointed at Kevin Costner, and Costner is with the other, like,
the security guard.
the security
Yeah,
guard, but like he's also like military, right? Like so
right.
he's
Military guard,
so he's
like
Navy, and
military police.
he's yeah, military police, and he's like lower ranked.
Right.
So like that's why like Costner's character is like, I am a superior
Arrest him!
officer. I command you to
I
arrest him.
command you.
And so
That
like
guy
the
didn't
dude
know what
like,
he's doing.
and so like yeah, he basically like tells the dude exactly what to do and why you're doing it, which I thought that was awesome, because it's like that is like smart level, like that's espionage level smarts, like, right, like I
Right.
am a superior officer, or
Right.
like, I
Playing
command,
his rank.
like so he, like yeah, he outranked them, makes them do that, like he's like you said, he goes in, shows them the paper that he had printed out, that's from that gift gratuity, um that shows Brice is the owner, or received that jewelry
That he
box,
received. Right.
like to
And
keep
Pritchard
the safe
comes
cabinet.
in, and Hackman, he's like, it's over. All right. Because the cops come in and say, hey, Yuri's in the building. He just killed George Azunza, you know? And then Pritchard comes in. He's like, okay, very well, get out. And he just shoves the cops out. It's like, yeah, we'll deal with that. And Hackman is like, Scott, what the hell are you doing? This has got to stop. And because now Costner's all pissed off because his buddy died, and he's getting in Scott's face, and that's when Will Patton delivers his best line when he says, "You have no idea what men of power can do." Yeah, and his hair's kind of like whipping around.
He's got blood all over him, and
Right.
it,
Well, Costner's got blood all over him, but then Hackman is like, "Scott, it's over. You're done. All right." And then Hackman has to convince Costner that it was Scott. We'll throw Scott under the bus. He was the one. He was jealous of Susan because he's gay. So he was the one that killed her. And basically, he's in the room, and Hackman's like throwing him under the bus. Like,
yeah, like we'll blame my right hand man that came up with this
right,
plan to save my ass anyway.
right. The guy who's most loyal to me, I'm just gonna blame him.
And then that's actually where you think all of this like claustrophobic behavior happening is like No Way Out, like it's like right beside Kevin Costner, but it's actually Pritchard. And like at the end,
The
like
walls are closing in on him.
so he's come up with this plan to get this Yuri, which he doesn't, which everyone thinks is a boogeyman, and including him and Gene Hackman.
Right.
Gene Hackman maybe the most, since he doesn't want to fund anything for this Phantom sub because he doesn't
Right.
believe it, right? So it's like, and then all of a sudden, here is the Yuri's in the building, and there's these three people, and I think like Hackman starts to figure out like, whoa, shit, like this dude Kevin Costner is Yuri, so we could just blame this guy that's in the room with us, you know.
Right.
And then like Will Patton's character Pritchard realizes like I'm either going to take the fall
Yeah.
or I can
He
do this, and then
the
he just
walls are
blows his
closing
head
in
off.
on him, and he just has no other. He figures he's got no other option. I just got to take my own life. You know.
And yeah, and
And
he yells something. He's like secretary or
goes,
whatever.
David,
Yeah, David, and he's just like, and it
because
is
he's in love with them.
yeah, well, because there are a couple right after right after he's like, you have no idea, like like
Right,
men power will do like he tries to like cradle his face a couple
right.
times,
And
and like
Hackman's like,
and
get out
Hackman's
of
like
here.
shoving him off, like, what's up, dude? And yeah, I thought that too. I was like, like you never know what you'll do for love is kind of also like a theme going through this
Right,
like whole movie, right? And like, and Pritchard at the end, the ultimate sacrifice, he's like, well, I'm in love with this dude, and um I'm gonna get framed for this, and that's not, I
right.
won't spend my life with him, so
There's nothing else to live for.
yep.
You know.
And then like, and but for Kevin Costner, that's a nice, neat little package right there to put a
Right.
bow
That kind
on,
of gets
and
him out, and
gets
it gets Brice. It gets David Brice out.
gets David Brice off the hook, and he's probably gonna get away with murder. It gets, Tom Farrell slash Yuri off the hook.
Right. You
Because
know.
because now Pritchard can be blamed for being Yuri, or at least that's what
Right.
everyone thinks. Or a lot of people probably even
So
think
then,
maybe
right.
he
So they're
is
not going to
Yuri
look
at
at
the end,
him for
because
that
they really
anymore.
haven't given up the goat yet. Ghost given up the ghost yet on um that Kevin Costner was the mole the whole time. But
Well, and we find that out. So after that scene, Costner just runs out of the Pentagon, and he goes and he's sitting by Susan's grave. You know.
yeah,
So then the two guys that were in the opening scene, pick him up, and then we pick up right where the opening scene left off, where he's being interrogated.
and you're like,
And
what agency is this?
yeah, like what? Well, first you totally forgot about it. Like, oh yeah, this was like the opening scene.
Yeah, this is Mug Smasher.
And then the guy comes out from behind the mirror, and it's his landlord. And then you're like, what the fuck? And then when they start speaking Russian, that's when you're like, oh, holy shit, he is Yuri.
He is Yuri, and that whole story where they're like, "Oh, someone came over as a teen," and he's like, "It's been a long
Right.
time since
It's
I've
been a long
spoken
time.
in like the mother tongue or something like that." And
Right.
you need to be doing a lot more of that because you're going back to Russia, dog.
Right.
Like we
Right. He
can't
wants
keep
him to
you
go
here.
back. He's like,
And he's
this
like,
little
"Yeah,"
incident, it's too, it's given too much exposure. We got to send you back.
and
And
so
they,
like,
oh, and they also tell him, like, hey, and we weren't really happy about your, getting a bag of your underwear in the Philippines. Remember when that little kid took the bag?
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
was supposed to be a drop off,
yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah,
That was supposed to be a drop off to his Russian contact.
and that's like one of those things too in this movie, because like I swear, like this movie does get better probably each time you watch it, because like
Absolutely.
you see all
Absolutely.
these like little nuanced little things like that, where like this kid steals a bag early in the film, and it's supposed to be some drop off, and at that point in time you think it's a drop off for the Americans for some kind of
Well, at
like,
that point in time, you don't think that. You just think some little kid stole his bag,
yeah, like,
you
yeah.
know?
And so like they're like, thanks for the underwear at the end. Like, like, yeah. So like, and then at the very, like, as he, reconnects with like the KGB
Right,
handlers, he, they're like, you're going back to Russia. And he's like, no, I'm not going back. And, and so he starts to walk out the door, and these two dudes just instantly pull guns and put him right to his head.
right.
And the old handler is kind of like, hey,
Let him go. He'll
let
be
him
back.
go. Yeah. And they're like, why are we letting him go? And he's like, he'll be back. He doesn't have anywhere else to go. Like,
Right.
and which
And
is,
he might not,
which, which is, I was gonna say, which is very true, because like he just
Right,
basically burned every bridge he had in the U.S. government. Um, and anyway, but it's fascinating. And I think like you said this too, and I noticed it like watching it again, like where there are plenty of clues that Kevin Costner and the writers and the
right.
director and stuff are dropping out in
When
this
he
movie
orders the Stoli.
when he orders the Stoli, you know, that those very stilted scenes with the landlord, it is very much coded speak. Like
Right.
they're talking literally in code, and you
When they're
can kind
talking about the painting.
yes,
And he's like, hey, how do you like my painting? And Costner says, oh, it's not finished. And that means like, hey, I'm still working in the
yep,
Pentagon. I'm not done yet, you
yeah.
know?
The painting is the Pentagon, or the
Right,
painting is the mission, or whatever.
right.
So they're talking in code there, and it's kind of like a little more obvious, like obviously when you see it again, you see like the that opening interrogation, like, yeah, those are KGB agents. That's why you don't see any like parapher like you don't see any badges. You don't
Right.
hear them like,
Yeah.
hey, we're here to CIA compound or
Right.
Langley or anything like that. Like you don't see
Yeah.
any.
Cause you think it's something like some sort of the Justice Department in the beginning, but you don't know because, yeah, they're not wearing badges. They
Yeah.
never show any ID. And it turns out like they're just Russian agents.
Yeah, and and also probably against American protocol, like for law enforcement, is to smash a mug, with your bare hand, like just
That was
explode it.
crazy. Yeah. That's just,
Um,
it's
but
funny.
like, so there are like lots of like little things throughout. Like, and I also point out like when he jumps in the limousine with Sean Young towards the start of the movie, and he goes, "Take us to see the monuments." And
Well,
I
she says that.
or she says that,
Yeah.
and like, and like he didn't seem very like, obviously he's more concerned about the soon to be naked woman in front of him, but like,
Right.
you know like
He's more worried about taking her dress off.
yeah, like, but there are just like elements in the movie where he does kind of just like tip his hat a little bit, or um you know like he doesn't just like fully speak Russian and stuff, but like he does, like, there are plenty of clues that you can pick up along the way to kind
Yeah,
of pick up
after
the
you
fact
watch it
that
once and you know what the ending is, and you watch it again, you will spot a lot of little clues that are very subtle, but they really stick out, the more you watch it.
yeah, and it is like it's like a mystery in reverse too, because like the whole time, like, you're trying to figure out who Yuri is. Gene Hackman killed somebody. That they're trying to pin it on Yuri. Kevin Costner's like under complete duress from everybody in
Right.
in the movie. Like he's getting it from all sides, really. And yeah, it's a pressure packed, tense, like, but like very entertaining joyride. And I would say, like, I didn't count it up, but I think there's probably 6 to 7 that guys in this movie. And you said like the heavyweight champion of that is the
Fred Dalton Thompson.
yeah, Fred Dalton Thompson.
So
Um,
I got a list of Fred Dalton Thompson of movies that he was in between 1987 and 1991. All right. So this is only 4 years. So No Way Out,
yeah,
Batman and Little Boy,
okay,
The Hunt for Red October,
nice.
Days of Thunder,
Okay.
Die Hard 2,
Okay.
Class Action, Necessary Roughness,
Yes.
and Cape Fear.
Dude, what?
Yeah.
Cape Fear. Nice. That's a
So
killer. That's a killer
and
list,
and
man.
and he's a senator. Like, he's like a politician that just moonlights as an actor.
That's wild. That's
Rest
wild.
in peace. He died though a while
Yeah, I
ago.
was gonna say, but I did know that he was in Congress, but
Yeah.
that's wild. But there are a ton of dudes like the I don't know what he is, like the commissioner or whatever. Like there's so many guys in this, man. Like
Well, George DeZunza is one of those
George
guys.
Costanza is definitely one of those guys. Um, yeah, like just all kinds of folks, but like good stuff all the way around. I would say uh Will Patton, creep factor
Oh yeah, it's up
might
there.
be one of the highest creep factors we could ever give on Lost Copy. I
Yeah.
mean, like he is like so uh just
It's
diabolical. Like he
right. The scenes that he is in, I mean, there's like a dark energy going on, you know.
yeah.
And and plus it's and I love Will Patton. I think he's a great actor, but this is his best performance.
Oh yeah, he's 'cause he just has so much to chew on in this, and he just goes for it, and he's in like scenes with like Costner and Hackman. I mean, like
Right. Yeah. I mean,
you're
he's
not
going
getting that.
toe to toe with Hackman. I
Yeah,
mean, it's awesome.
you're not getting that gig unless you're quality. And
Right.
like, but he's like super creepy. I mean, he's right up there with like you know Terry O'Quinn and Stepfather, and
Right.
like I mean, this dude is like he does it up in this movie, so
Yeah.
can't recommend that enough. Um, and like just a fun ride. And when did this come out, Mac? Did you say like
1987.
87? Um, so I know like we're like hitting all these like 90s and these late 80 movies and stuff, and I'm not sorry
Well,
about that at all.
you and I grew up in the 80s, so a lot of these movies are very nostalgic for us. But like No Way Out, though, I mean, it holds up. I think
Yeah,
anybody can watch this, even if you've never seen it before, and really appreciate it,
yeah, like
as a really good, political thriller.
there's a what's cool about this movie too, now that I'm thinking about it, uh is that even though it's older, like 87, and I do want to mention this too as kind of like an addendum to this first thought, but like, um, I don't miss the technology in this movie. Like
No, you don't need it.
they don't use a whole lot of computers. They talk on the phone, but and that's like, that's obviously like touch tone, like corded phones and things like that, but not even very much in that. It's
Well,
really a lot of face to face like dialogue,
right.
like tension and stuff like that. So I really appreciate that. And
Because they
also,
you know they show the technology when they're trying to reconstruct the photograph and all that, and it's old 80s technology and you can see that, but it doesn't matter because it's not really important to the story.
no, and in fact, like, it almost adds to the story a little bit in the fact that like when you're waiting for the printout to happen,
Right.
um, and Costner keeps running back into this like this computer room, and he's like going through all of like the dot
It checks
matrix.
like 150 different pages.
Yeah, and they're all like and it's from the like the spool
Those old printers where all the
of
paper
paper.
was
Yeah, just
together and it just
spooled all through it, and so
right.
like you had like 50 pages of printouts and stuff. But he keeps running back in there and like waiting for it to print out and waiting for it to print out, and because he can't have it digitally, because back then like what how am I supposed to prove this? It's digital, like
Right.
that
It's not
wasn't a
like someone could
thing.
have sent him an email.
So he has to like wait for the printout, but like and other than that, and there was one other like interesting little snippet in there that I thought was interesting from like a tech standpoint or just science standpoint, was like they talk about knowing the blood type of Yuri because they found, semen in
Right.
Susan is her name in the movie, Sean
Right.
Young. And they, and now that would instantly be DNA and like give
DNA
me
would
your
be the
DNA
star.
and
Yeah.
like you're Yuri and problem solved and we just finished this in about a half hour, dudes.
Right.
And like, and like I thought that that was kind of cool though that like, like it's not like for me 87, I mean, I guess feels like a long time ago, but like not that long ago. Like, I mean, I was a kid, but not like a
Right. I mean, it was a long time ago, but it does like when we watch this movie though, it feels like this could have been made, 10 years ago.
yeah, like it
You
feels
know?
very current, like
Doesn't feel
honestly.
like it was that long ago.
Like that's
You
that's
know?
the one thing I guess I'm trying to relay, and you just kind of
Yeah.
summed it up there, where it's like, like sometimes if I watch Enemy of the State, I love that movie.
Yeah. I
Um,
love it too.
I liked it better when it was The Conversation, but
Well, I got a whole theory that that's a sequel,
but it,
you
it could
know?
it could very much be a sequel
Because
that could
Hackman, he's playing the same character
but
almost,
but like in this movie, like when I watch that movie and I see their big clunky cell phones and I see like they're running around with like these big diskettes or like CDs and stuff like that. It just kind of feels like it instantly like dates itself, and
Right.
not because it is trying to. It's just like that. It was high tech when it came out.
Right.
But like this movie is very much on that same kind of pace, on like that Enemy of the State pace, like fast pace, keep paying attention. But like, yeah, I didn't miss any of the tech. Like I thought that was kind
Oh,
of fascinating. Like I got done watching this, so I was like, man, what a clean movie this is. like
right. No, and like I said, because with a movie like Enemy of the State, the technology plays a big part in that movie.
yeah,
So when it's dated like it is, it kind of, it makes the movie feel a little dated. The technology in this movie is dated, but it doesn't really matter, and it does because it doesn't play a huge part of the movie except
exactly.
for, reconstructing that photograph, which I think just because of the slow process, that gives them their time clock,
Yeah, well, like
and they use that as, their clock on how much time he has.
I mean, like, and even if you did that today, like if you said like, hey, we have this photo and we're going to reverse engineer it and we're going to put AI on the case and AI says it's going to take 12 hours to a week.
Right.
No one would even question that, right? So it's like, um, yeah, like I don't mind that bit at all. In fact, like you said, like, I mean, it just works in this movie. Like I don't care like when you see it, like it that particular you're on the
Right.
clock kind of thing.
No, I think it's
And
great.
he's going in there and being like, hey man, can you go ahead and piss in the pool so everybody gets
Right.
out of it? Like, so it's
Well, and then George DeZunza's assistant, I don't know if you recognize him, but it's a young Robert Paymer.
yeah, yeah. Like
You
and
know,
I had him as another one of those that guy.
yeah, he was another one of those, that guys that just popped in a bunch of movies in the 80s and 90s. But yeah, I
Usually as like the
recognized him.
sidekick or the
Right.
sidekick of the sidekick or whatever.
Because he's the one that says, I don't see anything wrong with it. Why would I want to do that?
Yeah, like yeah, he's like
Just do it.
yeah, he gets angry and then he apologizes and the guy's like,
Right.
"Oh man, do it. Yeah, no problem." But yeah, like what, like I would say like I love this movie. I'm glad we covered this movie.
Hell yeah, this was a good one.
We'll have a lot more coming at you. Got a bunch of movies in the queue for us to come go and review. And like I said, before on previous podcasts, like you can catch us on Spotify, YouTube, we're on Facebook, Instagram. We're going to be dropping out some uh, little shorts and things like that on TikTok. We've got a couple new kind of episodes to throw your way too. So please stay tuned, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we will see you soon.
Cool. See ya.